NTV.
Welcome, you're still watching Morning at NTV with me, Sandra Twinobdio and Romeo Wusiku. Now, as you may already know, yesterday the People Power movement merged with a National Unity Platform. Yesterday we saw that Honorable Robert Kyagulanyi aka Bobi Wine was unveiled as the new president of the National Unity Platform, and it was also announced that he will be the flag bearer come the 2021 presidential elections. So this morning we speak to Mr. David Louis Rubongoya, the Executive Secretary of the People Power Movement, to basically help us understand this new development. Welcome to Morning at NTV, Mr. Rubongoya.
Thank you so much, Andrew.
Well, you're fairly a new face in the People Power Movement, at least for some sections of the public. Would like to first of it all get to know you. What's your position, and at what point did you join People Power Movement?
A very good morning to you and to the viewers. And I've been part of the People Power Movement from the start. I'm David Louis Rubongoya, and I'm the Executive Secretary of the movement. I'm a lawyer, but like I said, I was part of the movement from the start. And there are many people who you do not get to see, but who are behind the scenes. So I was there as Honorable Kyagulanyi ran in Chadondo East. I was there as we evolved into the People Power Movement. But many of us chose, for different reasons, to be in the background of things. And I can assure you that there are so many other people who are there pushing things.
Well, talking about you being in the background of things, we've seen that People Power Movement has in the past not been clear about when it will turn into a political party. And if I may quote properly, His Excellency of the Ghetto, Bobi Wine, once said that he does not, I should quote that for you, that I do not believe in political parties because political parties are the major cause of disunity when fighting a dictatorship establishment. And now we see that you've joined the National Unity Platform political party. At what point did you make this decision, and why and when?
So maybe to put it into context, the Honorable Kyagulanyi, when he said that he did not believe in political parties, what he meant was he did not believe in organizing according to individual political parties, because if you are just a political party and then there's another political party and there's another political party and you're shooting in different directions, what you're likely to have is a polarized political environment which does not deliver results. And that is why that should inform you, first of all, the careful selection of the name of this platform, the National Unity Platform, because we believe in national unity. But the second point is that we are bringing people together. Our intention is to see that, yes, there's a National Unity Platform here, but People Power is not closing. The People Power Movement, as we announced, is going to be an alliance which brings together different political parties and other formations.
But how will that work? How will you ensure that the People Power, because I know yesterday in his speech, Bobi Wine said that the People Power Movement will stay as an activist sort of organization and the NUP will stay as a political party. How will you be able to bring the two together, and how will they work? Because so many people were so glad to be affiliated and associated and endorsed by the People Power Movement, but now we see it has become a political party where they have to be clear on am I part of the NU or am I part of NRM or FDC? How is this going to play out?
So that's what I was trying to explain, that first of all, the NUP is a political platform which brings us together, people who belong to that particular formation. But in People Power, we have people from JEMA, we have people from DP, we have people from FDC. Anyone who believes in the values which we espouse is welcome. And this is not a new phenomenon. We see throughout history that many people have movements, and a movement as a resistance wing. And that's what we're saying. People Power as a platform is the resistance wing, or the activism wing, if you want to call it that. It is for resistance, it is for that kind of thing. But then we know that there's also a place for political engagement. And that is why we're saying that now we have launched a political wing, which is more or less an electoral platform, which people who want to join the NUP will now join and run under that symbol. And I think you heard what the Honorable Kyagulanyi said, that the biggest reason why we decided to form this, to have this political platform is simply because of the question of the symbol. Our candidates, over 10,000 of them who have so far expressed interest to run under our platform, have been coming, and what they're asking is, we want a symbol. Why? Because they want to run under the same symbol as the Honorable Kyagulanyi. they want, if Honorable Chagulanyi has this symbol, they want to make sure that they have it across the board, and that explains why we have
well,
it.
You've been talking about a symbol, and for you watching us this very morning, the symbol of the NUP political party is an umbrella, and we want to dive into that. Yeah. Why this particular symbol? What does it symbolize?
Well, an umbrella symbolizes unity. An umbrella symbolizes togetherness. An umbrella symbolizes unity in diversity. An umbrella, what it symbolizes is that we as a generation are coming together. We as Ugandans are coming together to say enough is enough to the dictatorship, to say enough is enough to what has gone wrong in our country, to say that we, and under this umbrella, let's build our country together. Let's take our country forward together. So that's why we chose an umbrella. Well,
we also know that the NUP political party has been in existence for about 16 years. I mean, it was founded in 2004.
Yes.
What has been its achievement? And for someone out there may be wondering, why did you choose NUP? And we want to dive into those few details of why not any other stronger political party like FDC, like maybe the NRM, or not NRM per se, but why not like the Democratic Party? Why didn't you choose the stronger, the ones that we know? Why did you choose something that people are totally not aware of?
That's why what Honorable Chagulanyi called the rubber-dub style. We move in the rubber-dub style. Where people expect us to go here, we just go into a different direction.
Don't you think that is going to affect your coalition with other opposition parties?
Certainly not. First of all, we've been talking to these other political players that we work with. We've been engaging with them. As Honorable Chagulanyi said yesterday, this process has been ongoing for actually a long time. Maybe for close to 2 years, because we predicted that maybe we might reach here, and a good leader is able to see what is likely to come in the future and prepare for it. So we prepared, well knowing that a time like this might come. And so we started doing certain things underneath, and then eventually we started engaging with other political players. But I also wanted to respond to your question of why NUP, why not any other political formation. One of the reasons is actually that if you, we've interacted, and many political parties and formations have reached out to us, and all of them would want Honorable Chagulanyi to run as their candidate, as their flag bearer. But then we had to do a careful analysis of the documentation. What are the values? What are the objectives? What do these political formations believe in? And we found that our heart was safer in NUP. And that is not to discount other political formations. They are good, they also have their advantages, and that is why we are bringing them together under a coalition or an alliance.
Well, some of your people, some of the people that were part of the People Power movement expressed concerns on feeling that they were not fully consulted on the decision. Do you think you fully consulted your people?
But you know that we are working, we are living in a dictatorship. Right now, as I was coming, if you just go out here on the gates of this station, you've seen police deployed everywhere, because probably they thought the Honorable Chagulanyi was coming and that kind of thing. So you do not want to give them what they expect. And so we did not want to talk to many people about this very, very sensitive matter until it was ready to be unveiled. Because as you can imagine, if they got to know it, they would frustrate it. I will also remind you that when in 2018, close to the end of 2018, when we decided that we're not going to form a political party, we decided that at least let's reserve the name People Power with the URSB and with the Electoral Commission. We wanted to reserve the name People Power just in case we make the decision. When we went to the URSB, the name had been blocked, it had been reserved. You had someone called Balam saying that he registered it as an NGO to look after old women. We went to the Electoral Commission, and we found that the name had been reserved. There had been, it had been flagged, so we could not register it. So you can imagine if anyone got to know about this, they would block us.
All right. Well, Mr. Rivera, we also know that, I'm sure you've also seen that it has drawn mixed reactions from the public, and majority of the people believe that once a movement becomes a political party, then comes issues to do with mismanagement, lack of structures. Do you have the right structures? We have about 6 months to the 2021 general elections. Do you have enough structures in place to actually take on the current government?
I'll tell you that you'll be surprised. We move like an amoeba. We've been building our structures for a very long time. The regime does not know, but we've been, and maybe you do not know, but we've been building structures across the country. There's no place where you go in this country and you don't find our presence. So we've been moving underground and building structures. But also, I'll just remind you that there are very many recent examples. In France, when the current President Macron started a movement, eventually it evolved into a political party and it went into government. So that's what we are trying to do. That we have just been a movement, we have a platform, a political platform, and maybe in a few months will be the government.
Let's now briefly talk about the outgoing president of this NUP party. I listened to his speech yesterday, and he was clearly saying that once the moment he went into deliberations, he was very honest to himself, and he said he needed to give up power to the younger people. Is he going to still be part of the party? Is he going to play a certain role? And if he is, what role is this?
So this like any other political party or platform, it's not just about him. It has several other members, and those members are still members of the platform. And they get to do a role that they've been playing within the platform, except that the leadership has changed. And so just like any other person, he will. And of course what he said that he wanted to hand over this to younger people, to energetic people, to shape its vision. And I think he was giving a very good example to the country, to the current leadership, to know that actually the time comes and you must give way to a new generation to come in.
Well, now that you've unveiled your leader, the flag bearer of the 2021 presidential elections, when do we expect other political figures within the party to be shown to the public? Or again, are you going to do it as you've done this particular situation?
Well, when that time comes, we'll certainly show them to you, but it won't take so long.
It won't take so long. Let's talk about the manifesto, because majority of the people may be wondering about the NUP manifesto. Is it ready? And if it is, what should people expect? And what should they look forward to?
So the people of Uganda certainly need to look forward to our manifesto, but we've been emphasizing that the issue is not about a manifesto, because there have been many beautiful manifestos. When you look at them, you think they are going to be, Uganda will turn into a heaven on earth, including the one of NRM, by the way, if you just look at it, but it's not implemented. What they write there just remains there. Every election cycle, they just replicate what they wrote in 2011 is what they wrote in 2016 and that kind of thing. But yes, the difference between our manifesto and their manifesto is that ours is born out of wider consultation of our people. We've been reaching out to the people, asking them what are those fundamental questions, what are those things which are closest to them. And I can just give you a sneak peek. We are just looking at the Feast 5, the 5 core agenda items of our movement and now of this platform, which we'll be championing. And the first one is people-centered governance. We believe that Uganda deserves better. Uganda deserves to be governed better. Power must return to the people of Uganda. The second issue that we are interested in is inclusive economic development. We believe that there's a lot of exclusion right now, and we want to make sure that everyone is brought in. The other thing, we're talking about equal access to quality services, especially healthcare and education. Before I came in, I had you talking about people being treated under a tree, health center being run under a tree. So you can imagine, we want to fix the healthcare of this country, we want to fix education.
In fact, that brings me to the point where majority of the people think that the People Power movement has derived its popularity on the negative things that the ruling NRM party has done, other than you putting forward the things that you do for the country. So now you're mentioning of the healthcare system. What are you planning to do to ensure that the healthcare system of Ugandans actually improves?
So it's very simple. You just allocate enough resources. Uganda has enough resources. The money we spend on patronage, the money we spend on buying political opponents, the money we spend on buying tear gas and tear gas trucks and that kind of thing. If you reallocated this money to the healthcare system would be fixed. You'd pay the health workers better. You would make sure that there's infrastructure. You make sure that there's equipment. You make sure people do not have to go to India or even Nairobi for treatment. You make sure that these things are available for the citizens of Uganda. Yeah.
So looking at your this new party, NUP,
yeah.
What are some of your first priorities? What are your priorities? What are you putting first in this going forward? Because there's infrastructure, you mentioned of so many things that you believe the NRM has not been able to do right. There's infrastructure, healthcare, education system, and the like, the youth, the young people. What are your priorities? What are you dealing with first?
But that's why I said that the 5 issues are very, very pertinent to us, and I just listed 3, and maybe the other 2 were the second last point was land and agriculture and environmental protection, and the very last one is national security and international relations. We believe that these 5 issues actually summarize the problems of Uganda. If you fix the healthcare, you'll have a very productive population, and therefore the questions of how the economy is run, the questions of unemployment, all these questions get to be solved if there's inclusive economic development, if you make sure that incentives are not going for foreigners, but to make sure that Ugandan entrepreneurs are given incentives and that kind of thing. So we believe that fixing this country will take all Ugandans. It will take all Ugandans to come together and rebuild this country which has been destroyed.
Interesting. Well, for you who's watching us, we've been talking about the National Unity Platform that was merged with the People Power Movement. Majority of the people actually, what is your response to the people that think this is going to, it's a sign that you're slowly going to collapse as People Power Movement, because before it was formless, so anyone could join, and therefore it was very hard to follow up and know who to deal with and who not to deal with. But now as a political party, they will know this one belongs to NUP, and this one belongs to the Democratic Party, and this one belongs to the NRM Party, and it will be very easy to crush NUP Party. What are your responses as People Power Movement to these allegations?
First of all, I'll just laugh at those people who say we are going to collapse, because they've said it so many times. When Honorable Kyagulanyi ran in Chadondo and won massively, and there was a lot of excitement around the country, people said that is an excitement which will soon go away. I remember when we launched coordinators, people said these guys are finished. Now Museveni knows where to touch. Of course, when we moved and established a secretariat, they said, now he knows where to go. But every day that goes, we see that we are growing from strength to strength. And therefore, those who think that we are about to collapse, I just tell them to watch the space, because we are growing stronger.
Since you say you're growing strong, we've also seen that in the past, the NRM Party, or the ruling party, has had quite a number of bigger section of members of parliament in the Parliament of Uganda, and the opposition has not been able to fill up these positions. What are your strategies to ensure that you clearly have a bigger section of members of parliament within Parliament of Uganda?
Yeah, first of all, people need to understand that the People Power Movement is a people power movement. It is for the people. And we do not just base on politicians or whatever, but we want the people of Uganda to decide and to make sure that they vote for the right leaders, right from the presidency to LC1, or right from LC1 to the presidency. And that's what we've been doing. We've been talking about Mission 2021, and we've been very deliberate to put that message out there. You've been seeing the government comes up with all these ridiculous things of scientific election, but people are not buying into that. You just go to the streets, and when they see Honorable Kyagulanyi, they say, this is our president. You are the guys that we believe in. So we believe that the same people who are doing that and who are resisting the oppression, who have seen that the current crop of leaders does not represent them, will actually go to the polls and elect leaders who actually speak for them and who will represent their aspirations. Well,
you currently know what is happening. The COVID-19 pandemic has affected different sectors of the economy, and definitely elections are part of those things that have been affected, and this is why they're coming forward with scientific elections. What would you rather we do, having health of the Ugandans in mind?
Yeah, but as we've been saying, our principle has been very clear. We have a constitution. Let's follow the constitution of Uganda.
And go ahead and have elections? Is that what you're trying to say? Should you go ahead and have campaigns where so many people gather?
Article 77 of the Constitution of Uganda says that where there are circumstances that do not permit a normal election, Parliament shall by resolution extend voting by 6 months, by a period not exceeding 6 months. So the people who made the Constitution, the 1995 Constitution, predicted that circumstances would emerge like the ones we are in now, which would necessitate that there cannot be a normal election, and therefore the election should be extended. And if the government is not going to do that, then the people of Uganda will go into a normal election, because there is no other election under our laws except a normal election. So
in other words, if currently the situation according to the People Power Movement does not necessitate us having elections, is it?
Because when you talk about a scientific election, you're talking about an abnormal election. And the laws of Uganda do not foresee an abnormal election. What the laws of Uganda, what the Constitution of Uganda
What do you see in the public? Do you believe election. With the current health situation crisis, do you think we should have elections or not?
Like I said, there are two options here on the table. You either have a normal election or follow the Constitution and extend them by not more than 6 months. But the implication of extending them by 6 months, you know what it means. At some point, the current regime term will run out on 12th of May, and therefore it would mean that the Speaker of Parliament would take the reins of power and be administering this country until such a time. And it is very clear that that is why they are trying to avoid that. So, because if it was that the current president, for example, stays on, I'm sure they would have extended them already. But they know that under the current constitutional arrangement, the moment they extend them, it would mean that the Speaker of Parliament at some point will take over the reins of power, which I don't think the current establishment can even dream of. And
let's talk briefly about the electoral roadmap. Does it work best for you, the NUP party?
Of course, the roadmap was done in a very hasty manner, and clearly the regime intended to disenfranchise the people, first of all, to make sure that they just do what they call a snap election, that they just bring it upon the population when they are not ready. But I'll tell you that the people are charged. People have been waiting for this election for a long time. People have been talking about Mission 2021. Just go to downtown and you'll see how many people have stickers on their borders, on their taxis, on their shops, Mission 2021. So this one, we've prepared for it, and Ugandans are prepared for it. So wherever they take us, we'll find them there and deal with them. So
you're saying wherever they take you. So what if we go for the scientific elections, where you also have to use media to reach out to your people, where you may have just to have, you know, they're still revising the electoral roadmap, where you just have to have few people come to meet you, you know, like you saw the Electoral Commission say. How will you be able to deal with because we've seen every single time Bobby Wine goes to a radio station or a TV station, he's been arrested, he's been taken into custody, or he's been, you know, the police has come to stop the situation. How will you deal with that, considering that you may not have equal share with within the media?
Of course, first of all, we've been telling the people, and Ugandans are aware of this situation. They know the circumstances under which they live. But that's what I wanted to tell you. Just see, when Honorable Chagulanyi was on a radio station here in Kampala, when he went to Busoga 2 times, I mean, every time he's gone to these radio stations, Ugandans have gathered in thousands and thousands to come and show solidarity with him. What those people are saying, they are resisting the so-called scientific election. Those people are actually making a very big statement to say there's nothing like a scientific election. We are here to show solidarity to our leaders who we believe represent our interests.
But when that happens, do you have the interests of the people at heart? Because, you know, there is the COVID-19 pandemic and people are gathering. Do you have the interests of people at heart? Would you rather not tell them that, you know, I'm just going to this particular radio station, but we ask because of the current situation that you protect yourself? Or if you want to gather, come with masks, because we've seen these people show up without any protection, and it could be putting people at risk while you're trying to rescue them from what you call a dictatorship, but you're risking their lives.
But are you saying that the scientific election is born out of the threat of the COVID-19? Are you really saying that?
According to the government.
Yeah, because that's as ridiculous as it sounds. The Minister for Health, you saw her in Lira, she's running. She was at 2 venues holding processions. I saw a video of the Vice President with his voters dancing. You saw the Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs, Ephraim Kamuntu, addressing a rally in Bushenyi, a rally with people without masks. You saw Mike Mukula the other day. So, I mean, clearly it's not about that the government is interested in the safety of the people. They're just doing that for politics. Previously, when there was no COVID-19, they blocked us from holding consultations. You will recall that the Presidential Elections Act clearly stipulates that 12 months before an election, a person may go out there and consult the people of Uganda. But the government, using all sorts of excuses and ridiculous things, blocked us from holding those consultations. So right now, they're using COVID-19 to block us. But I can assure you that you'll see NRM politicians, you've been seeing them going around the country, holding rallies without even taking care of any precautions. So these are double standards, and we really hope that the media can expose these people and show that it's nothing about scientific election. It is not about the health of the people. It is just politics. Well,
before yesterday, when you unveiled the National Unity Platform political party, earlier was seeing you trying to endorse different different people standing for different political positions. What happens to those people that are so eager to be endorsed by the People Power Movement? Do they still go ahead and get some endorsement from the People Power Movement, or do they have to join the NUP party?
So this is what is going to happen. A bulk of those people are going to join the NUP platform, the National Unity Platform, and we're deliberate on calling it a platform because we believe it is a platform which brings together all these Ugandans who are oppressed, who are excluded, who are exploited, and who want better. But we know that there are some people we work with who actually belong to other formations. Some are presidents of other political parties, etc. So we are alive to that. And that is why we are taking advantage of the law. Section 18 of the Political Parties and Organizations Act provides for political alliances. It says that political parties can come together and form an alliance. And that's what we're trying to do. The alliance is going to be called the People Power Alliance. So that alliance will bring together other the different formations which share the same values, including NUP. Others might be JEMA, it might be DP, it might be whoever shares values with us. And as I told you, the discussions are already ongoing to make sure that we bring all these people together.
Okay. Now, looking at this week, if you may know, it is about the youth. And majority of the people that are affiliated to your party that support the People Power movement are the young people. And most of the issues that have risen out of these whole situations that young people are being affected. I mean, they do not have access to jobs. There's the trafficking issue also that is coming in, people being, young girls and boys being trafficked for sexual issues and all that. What are some of your strategies to ensure that you address some of the problems that young people are going through currently?
One of the problems many people make in Uganda is to look at the problems of this country in piecemeal. The problems of this country are a cocktail, all caused by one problem: bad governance. If you fixed governance, you would fix everything. And that's what we are aiming at. The reason why youth are being trafficked is because there are no opportunities here in Uganda. You find someone...
Do you believe there are no opportunities here, or just the mentality of the young people has not been good towards job employment or towards jobs that are available in Uganda?
No, it's because the government does not provide opportunities. You'll find that you go in a government agency, you know, the corruption, the nepotism and all those things. You find that there are ghost workers, thousands of them in an institution, when actually that money goes to ghosts instead of employing ordinary Ugandans. These young people would be getting those jobs. You find that the government is focused primarily on staying in power than creating opportunities. Like I told you, for example, if you got all this money which you spend on tear gas, on patronage and other things, and invested it in establishing factories, in establishing companies, in establishing digital platforms like you've been seeing everywhere, we can certainly move ahead. That's when you will find opportunities. So Uganda is a very rich country, very well resourced. We have all these natural resources, but they are poorly managed. They are mismanaged. The corruption is too much, and because of the corruption, the people can therefore not find their place. So what the result? People decide to go abroad. The other day I saw a video of a young Ugandan threatening to commit suicide because the situation in Uganda is hell, but the situation where they are is even worse. So they're just stuck. They don't know what to do, and that's a situation where many Ugandans find themselves. You saw the guy who burnt himself, may his soul rest in peace, in Masaka. What causes that is frustration. What causes that is hopelessness. What causes that is uncertainty. And those are the answers we want to give to the people of Uganda.
Also, the issue that has that has been coming up every now and again is the issue of climate change. You know, majority of the people think this has not been prioritized. It has not been given the right attention it deserves. Environment is being degraded, different actions are actually being taken. You as the NUP party, have you written that? Is it part of the things that you believe should be dealt with at this particular moment to ensure that come 10 years from now we're having a better Uganda with no flooding? We've seen mudslides and a lot of flooding every single time it rains. What are your strategies to ensure that you allow people think beyond just trying to survive today but also survive tomorrow?
But that's what I'm saying. One of the points I raised that we hold dear to, one, as I said, is land, natural resources and environmental protection. And the environment has been degraded because of the mismanagement of the regime in power. You just go around Kampala and see spaces which were meant to be parks, you know, some amusement parks, but some just to have green flourishing and that kind of thing. They were all taken over. By who? The regime somehow succeeded in selling them off or selling these properties to themselves. And therefore, just go and look at the swamps. Who has degraded them? The forests. Who has taken over the forest land? When the Bamgemelile Commission was still operating, you remember very, very unfortunate stories you used to see. People would come and say someone has taken over a government forest and completely built a hotel or built something in that. So one of our strategies is that we must make sure that we prioritize environmental protection. We must make sure that there's sufficient forest cover in this country. We must make sure that the parks, the spaces which are meant for parks, for the green and all that kind of thing are back. We must make sure that there's proper planning, and that is how you make sure that climate change does not take a toll on you.
All right, and maybe for those pictures you're seeing on the screen, that was yesterday when they were unveiling the National Unity Platform political party. And though different people have come up to criticize the move, others are very supportive of the idea, saying that this was long overdue and of course it will strengthen the people power movement. However, you who's watching us also today, you can continue to send us your thoughts on our social media platforms about this particular issue. What do you think of the move that has been made by the people power movement? Well, maybe finally, what happens next after this? You just unveiled a new president of the NUP party. What happens next?
We're going to continue doing what we've been doing, calling upon Ugandans to ready themselves for liberation, to ready themselves.
Should we expect you unveiling publicly the structures that you have in place, like you said, or should we have to wait until you feel is the right time? And
that's why I said we'll continue doing. So we do things on different fronts. There's political issues, there are resistance issues, there are legal issues, there are policy issues. So we'll continue doing the different things. But as NUP, what I can guarantee is that very soon we'll roll out massive activities that you're going to see, including the Election Management Committee actually has already started reaching out to the different candidates who picked expression of interest forms to ask them where they want to fall, because eventually we want to make sure we know who is under NUP. And I'll tell you this, that since yesterday we've received thousands of calls, phone calls, online messages, emails, telling us, people asking us where are the cards, where can we find the umbrellas. And I'll tell you that in the coming days...
And do you have all these different things in place?
Yes, yes, yes. Yesterday you saw how many umbrellas we had there. So yes, we think ahead and plan. And you'll see that moving forward, I know that one of the items which is probably going to be banned is an umbrella. It's going to be difficult for you to bring in umbrellas into the country.
So if they ban it, will we see some protesting, some people hitting the streets?
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Is it something we should expect? Should
people
we prepare for that?
I'm putting on a beret right now, and the regime tried at some point to ban it. Why?
So the beret continues, stays?
Yeah, of course, of course. This is a symbol for resistance. And what we're saying is that we are people power, our power. And so it will continue.
All right. The struggle continues for the opposition political parties, and that was Mr. David Louis Rongoya, who is the Executive Secretary of the People Power Movement, speaking to us about this new development of marching with the National Unity Platform political party. Thank you so much for joining us in our studios this very morning, and I hope you've given our viewers a right perspective on why you decided to form up this political party. We wait to see how everything, plays out. Thank you all for watching us this particular morning. Morning at NTV continues shortly.